Paul, yes, the RCW 9A.08.020, the liability for conduct of another, yes, Now, I did read this, and I put, oh, look at a person is an accomplice of another person in the commission of the crime if, with knowledge that it will promote or facilitate the commission of the crime, he or she solicits, commands, encourages, or requests such other person to commit it, aids or agrees to aid with the other person in planning or committing it. Yes. Now these restoration laws, yeah, where you told me I had to have a 1077 for violating a fraudulent court order that happens to have forgeries. This aiding and agreeing, prosecuting attorneys and public defenders, you're actually very complicit and accomplice to the wasting of state funds, state federal funds. Now I know it's dog eat dog in the prosecuting attorney's office. But you had to make me have these mental health evaluations without admitting any evidence that I wasn't inbred in Washington. Yes. Without considering that law enforcement wasn't involved and you didn't use the mechanisms of law enforcement. Yes. I wasn't questioned about where I was at, and nobody asked me, did you email any third parties? Because is it fourth degree assault? Ouch! Now, the civil contempt of the restraint provisions, yes. Prosecuting attorneys and public defenders have been agreeing with each other, that they're going to prosecute criminal prosecutions for some serious crimes per se. Why don't you give me all of the protection orders that have allegedly been violated where the prosecuting attorney decided to throw the book at the individual? And then ask yourself, did the person actually touch the other person? Were they in that city? Did they actually email them? Yes. Because aiding or agreeing as prosecuting attorneys and public defenders that you're going to make somebody go to fucking mother. I know this plea bargaining, or should I say flea bargaining for those in the dog family. I'm going to make absolutely fucking sure that, look at this, a person legally culpable. Now, he or she is a victim of that crime. He determines his or her complicity, the person legally accountable. You would have thought the public defender's office would refuse to actually, there are some corporations. I had some problems with YouTube because I know I didn't violate the guidelines. Yes. Now, a corporation is guilty of an offense when the conduct consists of an omission to discharge a specific duty. The conduct constituting the offense is engaged in? Yes. Constituting? Yes. Now, a person is criminally liable constituting. Could you get me all the board members of every corporation for the last 40 years and their PDF documents? Yes. Their actual locations. I thought that it was very mean on the part of Alphabet. Poo-poo! I didn't change, they did. And I'm wanting to sign some lawsuits that involve the use of the corporate title. Now, whenever a duty to act is imposed by law upon a corporation, any agent of the corporation knows he or she shares primary responsibility. Yes. For the discharge of the duty is criminally liable for reckless or if a managerial agent. Could you get me all the C-level employees of every corporation, those CEOs, CFOs, CIOs, CTOs? I really thought it was a mean thing to do, that saying in 3 days I had violated the community guidelines. Yes. Now, it could be that some actual... Well, you have a duty as a corporation to protect the rights of those in the corporate personal liability, RCW 9A.08.030. Ooch, ooch, ooch. Now, the conduct constituting the offense consists of mission to discharge specific duty or performance imposed on a corporation by law. I would think that any corporation that has a high managerial agent acting within the scope of his or her employment. It turns out that these corporations that do business, yes, They actually have an obligation as a state to remove their legal right to do business. Now, I know you're Gmail, and you thought that you could offer free email accounts everywhere in every state of the United States. You're Alphabet, and you have the right to decide that somebody's violated the community guidelines. Now, I would say the state of Washington, having any knowledge that my right to freedom of speech, there were no pornographic images. Yes, there was this fraud that I've been documenting in those videos. Yeah, the fraud of using forgeries of those elected to office. I'm going to sue each state of the United States that allows for any corporation, high official, yes, high managerial agent means an officer or director of a corporation. I'm so sorry. Did you think you had the legal right? Now, I know. You're sitting there in the corporate offices of Alphabet Pooch saying, well, if we close his Gmail account, it closes his YouTube account, but if we close his YouTube account, it doesn't close his Gmail account. Can you explain exactly how you separate your products? Because I thought that when I had a Gmail account and you closed them because you said I was spamming, but I was informing those in office of a crime, yes, that it was very mean on the part of yourselves. But then when you close my YouTube account that I've been using for the last year, had 10,000 videos, it's approximately 0.9% of the actual videos I put on YouTube as being violating of the corporate guidelines. I think that there's an actual obligation on the part of states that know about this, yes, to remove your right to do business in any state of the United States. Now you're saying, well, how do I get paid? No, I know. Now, there's this final, yes, the 9A.12 RCW. This insanity, yes, to establish the defense of insanity, it must be shown that at the time of the commission of the offense as a result of mental disease or defect, yes, the mind of the actor was afflicted to such an extent. Now, there's been numerous times that you said that I have a mental disease or defect. Yes, I've been emailing you that I didn't get notice of court hearings. Yes, I'd emailed you that the petitioner didn't sign it. I emailed you that there's forgeries. You know, every time that you did a mental health evaluation where you said I was insane, yes, because that is the defense, isn't it? Yes, that has a mental disease or defect. You know, as the alleged actor in each one of these crimes where I wasn't in Sequim, Washington, and you wouldn't admit the evidence. Pooch! The whole concept of me being in Brennan, Washington on June 16th of 2017 and you using restoration laws to restore me to sanity. Yes! The whole idea that I would contact my wife through a third person as a co-worker, yes, as being a criminal, serious crime per se. Pooch, I'm going to sue you for violating the insanity defense of those that are accused of crimes. Yeah, he is. Now, I've told you that it's against the law to take my sons. Yes. But this insanity defense, you wouldn't enforce the requirements for due process before issuing court orders. Yes. You made up bogus crimes where I wasn't in Sequim, Washington. Yes. You made up another crime that I wasn't in Brennan, Washington. Yes. And police departments felt no obligation to protect the actual, well, you know, as an American citizen. Now, RCW 9A 16.100. Yes. You know, I've never actually committed any child abuse or domestic violence. Yes. Now, is not unlawful. There is available to American citizens the right to discipline children. Yes. And I did spank Jessica once when she was 4.5 years old. Yes, because she was tearing the wallpaper off the wall. Ouch. But I never spanked my sons. Pooh, I never liked it. Now, the child's unlawful. Ouch. Did you think I was a child abuser? I want you to remove your fraudulent court orders. Okay? Because I never threw my kids around. I didn't kick them. I didn't burn them. Pooch. I never struck my children with a closed fist. Yes, I never shook them. Pooch. I didn't ever cause any bodily harm greater than the transient pain of a minor temporary mark. Now, I was really careful about the use of my hands as a father. I never slapped my sons unless I slapped both cheeks at the same time so as to not cause any damage to their neck. Ouch! And these temporary marks known as disciplining children, yes, the poking of their sternum as a Polish man, pooch. There's a transient pain that happens. It goes away within about 20 to 30 minutes. Yes, it does. Now, I never actually violated any laws in the disciplining of my sons. Oh, I used two fingers on one hand. Pooch. See, this whole concept of using the whole palm, pooch. Now, reasonable bodily harm. It seems that courts have taken on the position, yes, that somebody is a child abuser if they use two fingers to discipline their children and tell them to go to sleep. Yes. Or the courts have said you're a child abuser if you use both hands, ouch, on the facial cheeks, it leaves a transient mark. Just a little pain, pooch. Because you know what? I don't want to turn a child over on my knee and spank their bare bottom. Pooh! I like making eye contact with children so that they know that I'm very angry at what they're doing. Now, it seems that the courts don't understand the disciplining of children. Yes. They don't understand that as a father, I don't want to have crappy kids. That's right. And this whole concept of you touching your child is child abuse. Poo poo pooch. Why don't you get me all the protection orders that have been issued for child abuse? Yes. I read someplace that, let's say I'd never abused Benjamin as an infant. Yes, I never shook him. Yes. He's actually one of those that you can't name as being child abused. Yes. And I never spanked my sons. No, he didn't. And I never used a closed fist. Yes. And if I used an open hand, I used both hands at the same time to protect their muscle. Yes, he did. I just wanted to know this RCW 9A16100 of the 5 minors named. Exactly how did I abuse them? I never cussed at them. I never used profanity when disciplining them. Poo 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 poo. Now I know, okay. I had read in the domestic violence guide about those children that are protected and not protected. Well, I'm kind of thinking, okay, two fingers on a hand, it means that I was protecting my sons, but I was also disciplining them. You need to go to bed now. That's the third time that I've told you that. Now, I just wanted to know the domestic violence and the child abuse that you've been issuing where you name the minors' names. Yes. Exactly what was the abuse? Because as I read RCW 9A.16.100, yes, I never abused my sons, and I never abused Jessica. Oh. Well, what is the definition of child abuse?